got out of jail, of course, you know, we got divorced and everything else. So I started messing with this other girl, and my ex-wife and her became best friends. So one day when I was at work, I got a phone call telling me, hey, you having charges pressed against you. So my ex and the girl I was dating, they came together and say, well, he already got a charge on him. Let's put another one on him and make him go serve some more jail time. So luckily, my father at the time, you know, he knew this lawyer. I had to pay the lawyer like $3,000. The lawyer went to the back, I guess, to see the judge with the money, came back. He was like, come on, let's go. You're done. We walked out the courtroom. So I figured the judge got 15, he got 15. Now, my next one, out of Texas.
Hold on, let me make sure I got this right. Your wife filed a domestic on you, and then your wife, best friend, or wind up being her best friend, they filed a domestic on you. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead. Keep it coming.
And so, with that situation, I called my lawyer that my daddy told me to call. He was like, it's going to cost you $3,000. I'm like, okay, I have it for you when we get to the courthouse. Got to the courthouse, gave him the $3,000. He was like, sit here. I'm going to go in the back and talk to the judge. He went in the back, talked to the judge, came back. He was like, it's all taken care of. Come on, let's go. Left out the courtroom. My wife and the other girl that was trying to put the charges on me, they was looking at me like, where you going? And I just threw up the deuces. I'm like, I'm going to see you. So Katrina hit, I moved out to Texas. Me and my wife now gets into an argument. My wife by birth has a birthmark on her face that looks like, you know, like somebody hit her or something. The police came out. It was like, what's going on? Because what happened was that I called the police because she was getting irate because she'd been drinking. And I'm like, you know what? I'm about to leave. You ain't going no fucking way. I'm like, really? I picked up the phone, called the police, you know, told them everything that was going on. They came out, saw the mark on her face, took my ass to jail. I went to jail for 3 months. And in the state of Texas, you cannot, I don't care what lawyer you go and pay, you cannot get that off of your record.
That's it, forever.
Well, let me tell you something, man. I'm giving you some advice because I heard this happen to you. You need to buy pussy. You need to get hookers. You need to get hookers on deck and gamble with that shit.
Because this dating ain't working out for you, bro.
The bitches you gambling with, them hoes go have your ass. You gonna do 4 years in prison just for being with a bitch. You know what I mean? Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
You know, when people say stuff like this, I always think about everybody don't always tell you everything that happened.
True.
But when you get 3 domestics against you,
kind of pathological.
Something's wrong. Yeah. Something's wrong. But not to the point where, because I know the type of society we live in. It's not hard. It's not hard to find 3 women that won't lie and use the system.
Right.
You know, they the victim. That's what they always come to the system with. I'm the victim. Somebody did this to me. Somebody did that to me. I don't think it's impossible, but I'm just saying, if you got to know who you with. And if you're not smart enough after you get a domestic, if you're not smart enough to have somebody around you that really got your back, you know what I mean? Because like we were talking about earlier, once the thing starts where a phone call is made, it's up to the police what happened anyway. It's not up to the woman what happens anymore. You know, police show up, they'll take you to jail. You got to be smart who the fuck you got up under you, men and women. Can't just have anybody up under you.
That's right, but he could have thought he was making a smart move. We have another caller. Go ahead.
Phone call from Philly, son.
What's up, John?
Yes, this is John from Philly.
What up, man?
Hey, nothing much, my brother, but I just wanted to speak to what you were saying. I I've got a situation, and the courts are biased against men. I definitely feel like it's about money. Now a little bit about my situation. My wife, she's having an extramarital affair. I can't prove that, but all the signs point in that direction. She gets off work at 5 o'clock. She's never home before 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. She comes home, she's drunk. I'm not a drinker, never have been. That doesn't make me an angel, but alcohol has just never been my thing. My wife comes home drunk. We get into it. I call the police. The police come to the house. They tell me what I need to do. Oh, by the way, my hands are all scratched up because she wants to fight. So I'm trying to restrain her, keep her away from me. Police get there. My hands are all scratched up. She doesn't have a mark on her. They tell me I need to file a protection for abuse. I'd never been through this, so I don't really understand the situation. But once I found out that meant she would be restrained and she couldn't come to the house, I have 5 children. I'm saying, hey, I don't want this to happen. So I don't file this. I literally leave the house, this is in the morning, to go pay the mortgage and the gas bill, one of the other bills. I don't know what it was. But she, in turn, goes to the place and do what they told me to do. I return home to the house. She leaves with the kids. I realize that the house is empty. I don't really know what's going on. But 10 minutes later, knock on the door. It's the police. They give me 10 minutes to get out of my house. I'm a musician for my church. Now I need work clothes, I need my instruments, and I'm leaving my house. Well, long story short, I'm given a court date. That court date is 6 weeks away, so I'm out of my home for 6 weeks. My oldest child at that time, my wife had 2 when I met her, but my oldest child at that time is 9 years old. I have 3 by my wife. I've never been away from those children any longer than 3 days. We go on vacation. We got a house full of kids. I figured 3 days, we got to go home, check on the kids, because my mama, her mama, nobody can take care of my kids like we can. So I'm saying that to say I've never been away from my children, but because of this situation, now I'm away from my children. It's 6 weeks I don't get to see my children. I go to court. I win the domestic violence case. So I have the right to return home. I wait another 2 weeks before I go home, but under the advice of a lawyer, he says, if you don't go home, then your wife can say you abandoned her. So I go home. The same day I go home, my wife moves out of the home. While I'm at work, she empties out the house. I get another court date, go to court. They give me 10 days to vacate the premises because they say the children need a place to live, which I understand. But again, this is a woman who is infidelity. She's coming home drunk. She's not coming home at all sometimes. Nevertheless, I have to vacate the premises. Long story short, 47% of my wages have been garnished. I make $900 a week. Because of the 47% garnishment and the health care benefits and other stuff that I pay, out of $900, I now bring home $249 a week. I am 58 years old, and now I'm living back at home. I'm living in my father's home because I cannot afford to put a roof over my own head. So, and then I get to see my children, these children that I'm never away from. I get to see them every other weekend, which turns out to be every 12 days. It is a nightmare. It is an ongoing nightmare. As a matter of fact, I even have pictures of my wife with the man she was cheating on me with. I wasn't even out of my house 2 months, and he was already living in my home. He now lives in my home with my wife and my children. I send her $1,200 a month, which comes up to $14,000 a year, and I can't even afford to put a roof over my own head. I lost my house. I lost my children. I lost my finances. I lost my cars, and on and on and on and on. And it all comes down to money. I'm paying lawyers. I mean, literally, I'm standing in court with tears running down my face saying to the judge, Your Honor, how am I supposed to live? How do I survive? And I had a lawyer who specialized in men and fathers' rights, and he told me, you can go to court, Mr. Ward, he said, and you can prove that your wife is a crackhead whore. And he said, and you still only have a 12% chance of winning custody of your children.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you grow up in, like, the suburbs or the inner city?
I grew up in the inner city.
Let me explain something to you and everybody who's listening to this story that the brother just gave us. If you go by the rules, you are going to lose. If you go pay lawyers, if you do things that the courthouse and the laws tell you to do, it's set up where you die with nothing. The only thing that you have going for you is the motherfucking streets. And people may think I'm joking when I say this. If you don't have it in you to put some dope in that bitch car, if you don't have it in you to basically set this motherfucking woman up where basically she should not be legal to have children and stuff like that up under her, you will live this way.
My brother,
and that is the truth. And I know it don't sound right, and I know people may say, Corey, you wrong for telling people to do wrong, but wrong is being done to this man where you work, and he's at an age where you want to be up under your children. This man, you'll die from hypertension and being sad if you allow yourself to live this way. You got to put the streets on that bitch. That's just real. I'm sorry. You got to realize it's a no-win situation for you. There's nothing that the courthouse or anybody can do. The law is set up where it works that way. You're going to pay because she beat you to the police. The only thing you can do is make it where it's countered where she did something worse than you. If you remember that episode of Good Times where Little Penny, Rolona had got Little Penny, and the mama tried to set up that crazy party to make Rolona look like an unfit mother. You have to do this stuff. Once a woman sets you up, and I stand in front of any priest, I stand in front of anybody and say, bitch, I'm gonna get you. And I'm not gonna do it right away. I'm gonna let you get used to your little life of getting my money. But you are wrong for driving my daughter to school with all that heroin in your car. And how that heroin got in your car don't even motherfucking count. When the police pull you over, the heroin is going to be in the car. And you are an unfit mother, and I'm here to take care of my kids now. And I'm going to get a babysitter to watch the kids while I run the street and fuck bitches. That's what the fuck going to happen. We'll be back on the 5150 show, ladies and gentlemen. But he got a. But I'm telling you, this is not something that's not common. What's happening to this brother?
I know.
But man, man, that's a movie right there. Ain't it? That's a real movie. It's a tearjerker.
Lifetime. He needs to call somebody about that.
Stay strong, man. Leave your number with the people. We put some dope in that bitch car, man. We 5150. Violence music. We'll be right back.